fuck it, I need me a check. I need it. Saying with love, now that I'm found, I really need my respect. I really need it. Nobody but me in my head. Nobody. I'ma do me till I'm dead. Do me. If I gotta fight for my soul, then fuck it, I might as well go for the neck.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Us versus Us podcast. We're back in the building, probably.
And it's been a while.
What's good, man? How you doing today, bro?
I'm fantastic. I mean, it's been a couple weeks since we wrapped together, but been a couple busy weeks.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, just a lot going on. Memorial Day and this weekend just jam packed full of bunch of shit.
I've been on super dad mode because Mila started softball, so kind of just getting her started in that and being at all the practices and stuff is, you know, it's kind of far, but it's definitely like it's worth it. You know what I mean? Just because I could get to spend time, and she seems like she really likes it.
Yeah,
and stuff
no, that's
too.
always fun.
On top of that, like getting my teeth worked on is definitely not fun. So recovering from that, and I feel like, you know, medicine makes me loopy, bro. Makes me loopy, bro. It makes me moody. I ain't gonna lie to you, like. So just to be like kind of off of that shit now too, I feel like a little bit like better as a person, you know,
like
in general.
More clear-headed.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Feeling a little bit more like yourself.
Yeah. So, I know we like kind of like talked to like off stream, off camera a little bit better, and just talked about like us making the show, you know, a little bit better, maybe taking like a couple like different approaches to it instead of just like running it back and just doing it over and over, right? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, go ahead. Like
just giving the audience, giving the people a little bit more, you know, a little bit different side to us, and just kind of like, you know, show a little bit more of the humor we have and a little bit of the personalities.
A little bit less like formal, like stat spitting, more a little bit more just like us just chilling, you know what I mean?
Us just kicking back, being cool, you know what I'm saying? Being ourselves.
What kind of like led you to kind of like think about like talking about that with me?
You know, just I felt like, you know, taking the last couple, you know, weeks off and regrouping and going back and listening to some of the episodes and just kind of feeling like, you know, kind of giving an insight is the viewer, you know what I mean? And that's something that I think for me, at least, is like I forget to think about sometimes as we're creating this, you know. You know, we got 3 cameras staring at us right now, and so it's like it's hard to get like that and just kind of break down those walls when you're trying to be, you know, kind of a little bit formal and trying to host and stuff. So I thought just overall just like kind of being open and, you know.
Yeah, no. And like I, you know, cuz me the same way too. Like I like when we take the break and everything. I also like, you know, like constantly thinking in my head like when we come back, like I want to make it bigger, you know.
Exactly.
I want to make it better, dude. You know what I'm saying? So like,
for sure.
And you being able to be so like open and honest with me and be like, hey, like we just need a little bit just to turn up, you know what I mean? Because and it comes down to even like you saying like, you know, like maybe add some like graphics when you're editing, you know, stuff like that. That gives me, you know, like a goal, you know, it gives me something to kind of like, as much as I do for the show, like take another step and like, you know, make that a little extra, you know what I'm saying?
Me too. Like, cause as I'm listening, I'm like, oh man, like, you know, I talked to you a little bit about it. I'm like, man, sometimes I just need to learn like when to shut up and like. To me, it's like, like I need to learn how I can make it better and how like what I can bring to the table, and a lot of that is because you do a lot of the production and the post production. A lot of that is just me being on camera, and like just kind of like I said, just kind of like breaking down those walls and being like, hey man, like this is the Us versus Us podcast. This isn't just like probably just sitting here fucking talking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, just whatever I can do to bolster this dynamic duo that we have like building up, because that's something else I want to make note of is like I genuinely think we are building something special. So I just, for me, it's like how much I can show I'm invested in what we're building is not all I can do, but that's like the first step I can make to make sure that ball gets rolling. You know?
No, of course. I mean, shit, just fucking more personality. You know what I mean? That's it. That's it. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, like, you're already doing the right thing. You're already, like, you know, you came today, like, very prepared, I felt like, for, you know, the show and for your ideas and what you want to kind of portray and everything like that. And so that kind of brings us to our first topic before we get into just our sports. And it's a mental health topic, and we were talking about, you know, a couple weeks back we were talking about, you know, overcoming rejection, right? That was like kind of like the theme of the episode that day. And I think we kind of want to elaborate that on a little bit more, just because I feel like we need like to retouch base on it, like, because even after that episode, I feel like I had my another episode within myself,
right,
where I wasn't overcoming it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if you want to get like kind of get the segment started with what you got going on.
So obviously there's like a theme going around right now where it's just like I'm just kind of taking a lot of losses. You know what I mean? And honestly, to tie it in with what's going on in the world of sports and us being Nuggets fans, right? It's like, you know, me and you were pretty invested in the Nuggets season.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, even to the point where we went to the first regular season game, you know what I mean? And then we watched all the way till the very last game.
I don't think we missed a game.
Yeah, so to watch that and to be so invested and to watch them kind of go out the way they did, kind of put it in perspective, because I've been kind of going through the same things. You know, whether it's like, you know, my rec flag football team or whatever. It's just, so this weekend, we had a pretty big tournament. It was the playoff tournament, so it's like,
it was pretty big for like your league, right?
Yeah, it's the end of the season. Like, we all win a fucking T-shirt or whatever. But it's something that, like, I'll be honest, like, my team and the people that I like stay around and grew up with, kind of like I've always kind of held to a certain standard, and so we like I would say like we take it pretty serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this season was a pretty big season. Like, it was our first season back. We had a few guys like come back or whatever.
Mike, shout out Mike.
Big injuries like Mike.
Yeah, shout out Mike.
Backstory to Mike is like someone that's known me since I was Zara's age and like coached me up since I was Zara's age. So he's someone I've always like looked up to. You know what I mean? So to get to play with him is always a blessing. So he's coming back from like tearing his Achilles, and that was a pretty big deal. And I watched his journey and what he went through and how dedicated he got to kind of bettering himself to get back out there. And like I said, just to kind of see how much that meant to him was like really eye-opening. It was like kind of cool. So this season was special. You know, Mitch came back. We had a few new guys and whatever. It was just one of those seasons where it was like it was a lot different, you know. And we fought and a lot of ups, a lot of downs. But you know, I think Saturday, like, I wouldn't say defines us going forward, but like it definitely is something that I think, like, I definitely kind of like will hang my hat on, and let it kind of I don't want to say overshadow, but like kind of like it's what I'll think about when I think about the season, which we went in, played 2 games in a row, both were comeback wins. both, like, mind you, we're missing Drew, who's like
one
of our better players, our essentially our defensive coordinator, if you will.
Pat plays too, doesn't he?
Pat, yeah. we were down Pat, so we're down 2 of our guys. And we go to the ship. We fall short. And long story short, the reason I started thinking about like overcoming rejection and overcoming defeat is because a lot of times I feel like when we go through those moments, and I think we kind of touched back on it a couple weeks ago, but when we go through those moments, it's like we often let the idea of the loss or the rejection define what we did to prepare ourselves for that moment.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And for me, it's like when I look at it bigger picture, that's immediately what I think of. It's like Mike and the hard work he put in and our first practice and, you know, getting the guys together for this season that, like I said, was a lot different for all of us. You know what I mean? And so when I think about the loss in the championship, like, yeah, it irks me because we were up and whatever, but it's also like, in a way, like, we kind of weren't even supposed to be there. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you shouldn't do moral victories ever, but there's a lot of times where you do have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, like, yeah, like I did win. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because whether you overcame the doubt that you had that you would even be able to get to that position, or you overcame, you know, the physical aspect in like Mike's example, right? So it's like you take all that and you taking that into account, and it's like by going through that loss, you're only making yourself better. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, what do you do after? You know what I mean? Like, where do you go from there? You know what I mean? And how do you build? And what is it that you can take from those losses?
Those are key moments where you guys, you know, where you do feel like vulnerable and like your back is against the wall. You know what I mean? The hard work that you guys do put in is ultimately like a reflection of like the leadership that Mike, you know, portrays, and you know each one of you guys do. You know what I'm saying? Holding each other accountable goes like such a long way, which is like my biggest one of the things that I wanted to just take away from what you were saying is just like, you know, facing it as a team is like a lot better, you know what I mean, than going to battle alone. And so when you guys build up the relationship that you guys do have, because I would say you guys do take it like serious, you know what I mean? Right. And so I just know how close you guys are and like the hard work that you guys do actually put in. And
I mean, like and that's like, that's only an example, you know what I mean? Because like people like the reason why I wanted to talk about it on the podcast is like people go through that shit in different ways, you know what I mean? And so it's like, it's almost like an everyday thing where it's like, you know, oftentimes you find a lot of people, and just by talking to people, whether it's at work or even when you fucking pass people at the grocery store, you know, and you give like the hi, how are you, you know? Yeah. It's like almost like, you know, that person makes a choice, you know what I mean? And it's like a lot of times you're either like, oh, well, this fucking day is shitty, or like, oh, this fucking weather, or you'd be like, you know, it's not bad. You know, I got my favorite saying right now is like, I have nothing to complain about. You know what I mean? Because like, I feel like a lot of times people either find a reason to complain, or they'll find a reason to kind of like live in that kind of world of, well, man, it just doesn't work for me. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Why is this happening?
Or it just didn't work for me. So now, you know, now I'm just gonna go. You know what I mean? Now I'm just gonna give up. Or, and on the other hand, like, I'm just gonna keep doing the same thing. You know, and we talked about it. It's like, yeah, you got to make the choice whether or not you move forward, or, you know, you stay stagnant. Yeah. And for me, it's like what I wanted to dive more into is like, I know like a lot of times, you know, you're a sports guy, right? So you know, you've dealt with losses, but you also are very self-disciplined in your own journey with like sobriety and everything. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there's times where, you know, you could have felt defeated and you know, you go down another path, but like, then, you know,
could have easily turned back at some point and everything like that. And yeah, and honestly, it's like, it's something that, you know, I'll probably continue to battle till, like, you know, for forever, until I decide that, hey, maybe drinking's okay again. But it is something that, like, you know, I do think about. The self-discipline, I mean, I feel like, and it does, it's awesome, because it's also like comes back full circle, because like you talked about for a brief second living in a state of like gratitude, and like that's kind of where I am, because you talked about you know, being happy for like how far you guys did make it, you know what I mean? And so like always like kind of trying to focus on that brighter side has been my new attack on, you know, alcohol and alcoholism, and even just that negative side of my you know, brain, like kind of just talking to me and shit, because I'm like, you know, if those thoughts ever like start to kind of creep, you know, I just kind of like thank the universe for being able to just be here, and for like what it's trying to teach me, you know what I mean? So like and it's like, and I'm using this as an example too, it's like traffic, you know what I mean? Like yeah, I might get cut off right now, bro, but like the universe might just be holding me back for a second. If I was 5 seconds too fast, who knows what could have happened.
Right.
If I was 5 seconds delayed, you know, I forgot my wallet, I had to run, you know,
right,
who knows what would happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the universe is kind of just putting you exactly where you need to be at that moment. You know what I mean? And so when I think about like, you know, being undisciplined, I kind of just like, well, you know, just thank you for, you know, giving me the opportunity to even be here and shit like that. Yeah. So
I mean, and that's kind of where you want to be, you know what I mean? And you want to, I don't want to say have control over those like choices, but in a way, yeah, you like, you kind of do, you know what I mean? Because like that's the idea of being that, like being grateful and being blessed, you know what I mean? Because like I said, like not only does the universe do that for you, but you also have to take into account everything that you've done for yourself. You know what I mean? And so that's what a lot of us hold to like a high regard, and some of the most disciplined, like whether it's your family that you care about so much and you're like, I can't miss a day of work because my family depends on me. There's a lot of people out there like that, you know what I mean? So it's like finding that awareness of, man, if I just say no to the negativity, or if I just say no to like diverting back to the same old routes and down the bad path or down the dark side, you know what I mean?
And that's a path that I've already been down, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And like, in just as much as it's familiar for me to be on this path, it's just as familiar as to go down that road, you know what I mean? Like it feels, if not even more comfortable to go that route.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And no, you don't want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
you kind of like have to be okay with the uncomfortability of like not doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then plus having the confidence, you know, the confidence to say like, yeah, like I believe in it. You know what I mean? I believe that I'm taking that step. I'm bettering myself by making this choice. You know what I mean? And leaving it up to the universe and yourself and whatever you're doing. You know what I mean? Because it ties in a lot. Like I would want a Nugget to listen to this podcast. I would want like, you know, my teammates to listen to this, because like, I mean, it's just where we're going is a lot more important than anything that we went through, you know, and because I mean, it's, you know, sure, it's been rough, you know what I mean? And like the drama and the BS of everything gets tough, but when you can just put that aside and not let it define you, and just move forward with your focus on whatever the goal or whatever the blessing may be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And maybe just like focus on the new goal. You know what I mean? Like you gotta kind of like take the next step and start turning the leaf. You know what I mean? Turning the page, start focus on the next page.
Exactly. Yeah. I like it, man. And for me, it's definitely like a conversation that I wanted and needed to have, like I said, on the podcast, just to talk about, like, you know, how I felt about it, and like, you know, how we could just kind of use our platform to kind of say, like, you know, if you ever feel like you're losing, you know, like the kind of mindset that helps me or you is this, you know. So I think it's beautiful.
And like I said, like I struggle with even like you know, the self-confidence thing and stuff all the time too, you know, like how we talked about imposter syndrome. So like I feel like, you know, me having to overcome something over even the last 2 weeks just to even like make it back here,
right,
where we're recording and stuff like that. So you know what I mean. So
and you have those, you'll constant, like throughout your life, throughout time, you're just constant.
And sometimes I am like strong enough to just like kind of like push through it too at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I'm not saying that that's like 100% reason why we missed the last 2 weeks, but it is like there's something there, you know, where I, you know, didn't feel 100. So it was like, so it's cool. You know what I mean? And now we're back, and now I'm you know, I'm fuck. Let's go. You know what I mean?
Now Tree's feeling great. Yeah. He's feeling phenomenal.
Well, and it comes down to like the whole, like, you know, like the streaming thing and stuff too. Like I don't know, like at some point, like I was like all of last week I streamed pretty much every single day. You know what I mean? So I'm like, at some point, because during all of that I wasn't really getting much views because I got banned or, you know, suspended or whatever. So it's like I started like even questioning like doing that shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, what am I like? What am I trying to do and shit like that? So it's like, all like fighting all of that, but really at the end of it, just like regathering my thoughts, praying on it, you know, sitting and just making better decisions, writing things down instead of just letting things fluster. You know what I'm saying?
I think a lot of times, like, a lot of people have a hard time because they feel like once they get knocked down, they're like feel like they're back to ground zero. Yeah. And trust me, like, I know how it feels like, and I do need to like listen to my own words, but like a lot of times we feel like we get knocked all the way, you know, down, and it's like a lot of us have to be more conscious of the fact that it's not always like that. You know what I mean? There's levels to this shit. You know what I mean? And you just gotta sometimes just roll with the punches and get the fuck back up. You know what I mean? And like just understand that yes, you were knocked down, but you weren't knocked out. You know what I mean? And I hate to go fucking Rocky Balboa, but like it's not about how hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
exactly.
And yeah, I think just like people need to remind themselves of that, like me included, because even in those moments, and like I said, it comes in cycles. It's like that happens all the time. You know what I mean? Like this shit going on with like my car, and it felt like, oh man, this is never ending. It still feels like it's never ending, and it's just like, I have to understand, like, I don't not have a car. You know what I mean? Exactly. And so it's like you just gotta fix the fucking thing. And so same with sometimes when you get in a rut. You know what I mean? You're not out of the game or out of life. You know what I mean? You're just a little bit down in your luck, dude. Just wash yourself off and like
just keep trying.
Yeah.
Keep trying. Do the good old If first you don't succeed.
Yes. You can dust it off.
But yeah, that was great first segment. And you know, I like the talks, like those kind of talks. You know what I mean? I think that like some of our other segments, you know, we're just getting kind of like wordy or kind of like just talking, and like sometimes it's just like, damn, that's crazy. You know, so it's like as long as we're like, I think mental health is like huge, and as long as we're talking and like we're actually like, you know, being real, being open, and being vulnerable, then I love that as a segment. But of course, we'll like kind of move on to our sports segment, which actually kind of might be like our last sports segment until football season, kind of.
Yeah.
Or until preseason.
Yeah.
At
And
least.
it's a pretty like special.
Dude, I'm excited. I don't like if you want to go ahead and announce it, bro, because it's honestly like kind of like your idea what you were cooking. So
yeah. So, we were talking about segments or whatever, but anyway, I'm glad and proud to announce the first ever end of NBA season Us versus Us award show. Next week, we're gonna be handing out some virtual awards.
Awards, yeah. We're gonna do like the whole thing. It's gonna be like a actual like award ceremony with the NBA season wrapping up. You know what I mean? It's time. It's time to like kind of just crown who we think is gonna be best. And we got 4 different categories, and I think the categories go pretty hard. And we'll kind of, if you want to, we can let them know the category and nominations at the same time. But what first, before we get into that, what award show do you think you take like the most like inspiration from?
Ah, man. I would say like, I mean, I'm big WWE guy, right? So like the Slammies.
The Slammies.
The Slammies is like something I fucking love.
We gotta do like a poll or something so that we can get a name for these.
Yeah. We gotta clip this, and then like you gotta get comments. We gotta get, like a poll.
Yeah.
You on your live tomorrow?
Just be like dropping all of them.
Yeah.
And just be like playing them back to back, like yo.
Because like you said, everyone's doing the E's. So
yeah.
Like, can't do like in the Ussies or
the UVUs, the Us versus Us's, Us versus. I don't know.
The Us Awards, the UAs.
The UAs. Nice. That's good. The UAs. Also, I do. I gotta take UAs sometimes. No, I'm just kidding. No, we'll come up with a name and everything like that. I just I'm excited about it because I think the categories that you came up with too are they pretty much sum up like things that we care about, things that we talk about when we're just shooting the shit about sports too.
Exactly. And that's kind of the idea of it too, with like adding a little bit of like, I don't know, what do they call those things at the end of like yearbooks and stuff, like superlatives or whatever, like where you're like, maybe we'll add a little bit next week, but we'll think of like some categories, but like superlatives are like most likely to blah blah blah.
Oh yeah,
I think that's what they're called.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, the categories themselves I chose because I thought like overall it's what we watch sports for.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So for those 4 categories, the first one being BPOY.
Yes.
Best Player of the Year.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And I think we both kind of had like a consensus on like this is an award. It's similar to MVP.
It is,
but not exactly what I would throw in there.
So like we've talked about it on the podcast. This is why people need to like watch all seasons of the Us versus Us podcast exclusively on YouTube at the Us versus Us channel. Please subscribe and comment.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Check it out.
Anyway, but we have talked about the MVP award being either like is it a statistical award, is it a team award, is it like an impact award, like what is it gonna be? I think this kind of like is a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
So it's like just like overall best player.
Best player.
And so we thought of 3 nominees. Yep. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the first one is the MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, clocking in with 32.7 points per game, 5 rebounds a game, 6.4 assists a game, and he shot a whopping 89.8% from the free throw line, which isn't like the best, but it's pretty decent for him shooting like 100 a game.
For how much for how much he shoots. Yeah, that's good. And I mean, dude's still leading his team to the NBA finals for the first time since 2008 or something like that. Yeah. So
well, that, and he was the Western Conference Finals MVP. Yep. We watched him tear up the Minnesota Timberwolves, and honestly, Game 7 against us, he kind of put us out of our misery, kind of. Which leads to our second nominee, yes, right? Which we all should know, which is ultimately probably the GOAT. I'm just kidding. All unbiasedness aside, Joker clocks in with 29.6 points per game, 12.7 rebounds a game, 10.2 assists a game, and 34 triple doubles.
Damn, bro, that's crazy.
Which, let's see, they play 82 games a season.
That's like a little bit less than half. It's like 40 something.
Yeah. %. Well, I mean, and then I don't know how much games did he miss in that stretch?
He missed like 4 early on for his kid.
Yeah, and then at the end of the season, he missed like 2 or 3.
Yeah, like 3.
So he missed like 7. So really, he played 70, like roughly 75.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's
35.
34 out of 75. Oh,
my boy.
Pretty nasty.
Yeah, pretty disgusting.
Nasty. Then we're giving this guy a nod. 24.5 points per game, 4.4 rebounds a game, 6 assists per game, and he shot 93.3% from the free throw line. We're giving the ode to Mr. Chef Curry.
Ooh.
Last nominee for best player of the year.
Hey, bro, I'll actually like take that probably just because he had to like kind of carry the Warriors all season this season, and dude looked nice. So
and he was spanking some teams like you just find yourself on Wednesday night 8:30 at night just watching some random like Golden State versus top team in the fucking league, and he's just like going for 39.
13 threes or something. It's crazy, bro.
In the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
He went nuts at times. Any honorable mentions or if you guys want to comment, anybody that we missed?
Yeah.
But do you have like one
off the top?
Like?
I just, I speak pretty high of like the Celtics and Jason Tatum. I felt like could be also considered up there as like BPOY just for what he does for his squad as well too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And shoot, he looked pretty nice this year. They were what I thought was the best team in the NBA, and then they lose in the playoffs to a hot Pacers team. So
a really good Pacers team at this moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I were to throw one out there, I'd probably probably Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
I just think like him taking the next step into into this new. I think he's like into this new era of leading the Cavs and kind of being. He was another guy that you'd show up like random fucking Tuesday at 4:30.
And he's got 45. He's got
45
yeah.
points against the Celtics.
Yeah.
So I throw him out. Which I'm excited to actually like narrow it down at all those, put the Joker bias aside and really kind of like see who we decide on that one.
Yeah.
Next up we have the Highlight Reel Award, which is an award that we give to someone that was constantly just either making buckets or buzzer beaters or, going off of 50 or whatever it might be, right? That's kind of what we're going for this. And we have 3 nominees for that one as well. First nominee, clocking in 26 points per game. League high 52 field goals made in clutch. Adding on to that, he was 51.5% field goals and 84% free throws in clutch.
Oh my God.
Mr. Jalen Brunson.
Hey, bro, that's another one so well deserved. Damn, dude. He's good. He's really good.
Yeah,
and I mean he's cooking up in New York, man. So it's like, I imagine his highlight reel it was nasty this year. His little like jump shot that he's got, bro.
The jump shots, the passes, and honestly, some of the takes that he has are pretty incredible, just due to his size and the way he gets around people. He the way he uses his body,
his fearlessness.
It's definitely something that I think opened the eyes of myself as a viewer and watcher of New York Knicks basketball. I think it was like, I never really gave him a chance, and now I can see why, everyone's on the Jalen Brunson hype train.
Yeah.
Our next nominee, which is someone we often watch, and in fact we watched live, 27.6 points per game, 5.7 rebounds a game, 4.5 assists a game, and then led the league in 3-pointers made with 320.
Dang.
Mr. Ant-Man Anthony Edwards.
Bro, that's dope. I was just talking about on stream how he added the jump shot into his repertoire last offseason. And so to hear him like make the most amount, good. I mean, he was taking quite a bit, but
he also took the most.
Yeah, but still, you know what I mean, to add that to his game to help people like back off him a little bit so he can get more space and create doing his thing and stuff. It's really it's one of those things where it's an ode to how dedicated he is to his game. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because he knew he was going to have to evolve into that kind of guy, and honestly watching him live made me realize just how much like he did that for himself. Because like, dude, like there was one of those plays where he just hit like a 3 and it was just so quick and it just looked nice, and I was like, damn. And we were like, shit. So from like the third level, we look at each other just like
fuck, dude, this guy. And so I think watching him live is kind of like probably why like I don't know, like he might get my vote just because watching him live made me realize how fast he was, how precise he was with his moves, I think one thing that stands out for me too for him is just I mean, he can have a highlight reel just on the shit that he talks. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like he's not scared of KD, he's not scared of Bron. He's in their face, bro. Like Jokic, nobody's stopping all of Denver.
Him. So highlight reel for sure, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, he don't forget about the bounce. He had like
the
a couple
dunks.
This year that were just like nasty. But moving on, a guy we've mentioned in the honorable mentions for last award, but 24 points per game, 4.5 rebounds a game, and 5 assists a game, leading his team to the number 1 seed on the Eastern Conference, Mr. Donovan Mitchell.
Oh, nice.
Which I've talked about him on the podcast. He's someone that I think is just phenomenal. Yeah. Phenomenal at scoring the basketball, especially like when he gets in his bag. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like when he gets in his bag, he's probably one of the most unstoppable scorers in the league.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. Like it, when he starts to cook and he starts to get on that 45 point run and shit like that, then it definitely it starts to hit.
Yeah, I mean, he gets in his bag. And it just seems like he's always making the right play. You know what I mean? Like, whether it is passing or whether he's like shooting a midi or he's taking you to the rack or he's, you know, just hitting a jumper. It's like he's always making the right play, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah,
it's just like it leads to good team basketball, and it leads to like good runs and just like overall just like good plays. So shout out to Donovan Mitchell. Any honorable mentions you have for that one?
Honorable mentions. I think you might have wanted to talk about it, but dude, Jokic.
Yeah,
bro. Yeah,
no,
dude,
yeah.
Jokic, bro. I mean,
Fair.
his fucking buzzer beaters this year.
Mm-hmm.
Fire, you know, he's his passing, you know what I mean? Like that's like the shit that you can highlight for sure to like qualify him to put him up there for sure. So Jokic would be my HM.
I agree. I think he would probably be mine too. I would have to think more, like a little bit more deeply. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton.
Oh yeah.
Just the playoff run alone.
Yeah.
Probably give him a shout out in that regard too. But I mean, you can't go wrong with a little Jokic, you know, and so the buzzer beaters, the behind the backs, the no looks, you know what I mean? It's incredible. Definitely highlight real player for sure. Next award is a little bit on the more, I don't know, controversial side for us, right? First time we're like kind of doing a negative take on something, right? But something that we should and could do. But it's the Overrated Player of the Year award.
Okay.
And we have 3 nominees for this one.
Okay.
And I'll say the nominees, and we'll kind of just talk about like why we came to that. That. So obviously Overrated Player of the Year, pretty self-explanatory. Someone we thought, you know, maybe got a little bit more hype than they should have, or someone that we think gets too much more hype than they should, right? So, first nominee, Trae Young.
Okay. And and that was like something like that was like kind of like my nomination. So like it's a tough road with Trae Young just because like I like him because he's, you know, he's kind of dope. He seems like a good ass person for sure, but Trae Young can't win in the playoffs, bro, at all. So he's every time they go to the playoffs, he's a play-in. They're playing in the play-in.
Yeah. And
he hasn't won any of them at all. Man. He's like 0-7 or something in the playoffs.
0-7 in the playoffs, always in the play-in. And led the league in turnovers, which that's a stat. I'm not gonna like say like, oh, that's why I chose him, but I agree. I think at some point, you know, either we gotta maybe see what we can do to get him some help, or maybe just kind of like, he's not the guy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, not only does he need help, but he needs like, he needs to get somebody better.
Yeah. So Atlanta, please.
Because I don't know. Yeah, I'm the same way. He's a Sooner. Yeah. I always kind of like, I'm not like a big Oklahoma Sooner fan, but like, you know, I always kind of favor them in many ways. But yeah, hopefully he figures it out, because this is an award coming from a place where we just hate you. It comes from a place where it's like, hey man, like
the talent like is there.
We just want to see what other people see, you know? Yeah. Which leads to my second nominee, which is kind of controversial, but I thought he deserves this award just because I want to see what he does. But Luka Doncic.
Yeah. Okay.
Luka hasn't played more than 30 games in 2 seasons, and the Lakers just traded for him, and Nico Harrison got so much shit for it, but really, ultimately, I'm big Luka. I love Luka.
Yeah.
But what was all this drama for? If they ended up getting bounced out of the first round, and really, it's like it took him till the playoffs to get like going with the squad. And after all that
after all that
they get axed by Anthony Edwards. So for me, it's just like a little bit of an overrated year for Luka, just because of all the drama and just because of like Lakers fans just really thought that was it. I really didn't. And if I'm speaking out of pocket, Lakers fans, I'm not.
No, I mean, like,
because I mean,
they got what they wanted,
analysts.
right? Like, they got like the higher seed. That's what they wanted. I think that's why they like kind of balled out and went and got it. They got the higher seed. You know what I mean? But now, like once that transpired, they didn't capitalize. I feel like, but
and who was that? Who was I think it was Gilbert Arenas. That was like, who fucking cares about the Nuggets? Like, Lakers are gonna fucking like this shit.
They were sold.
Yeah, analysts were sold. You know, a lot of people were sold. I was a little sold at one point when they fucking zapped our ass at home. Yeah, that's when I was like, oh fuck, we gotta look out. But I mean, again, after all that, like, nothing came of it. You know, not even a deep playoff run, not even a series win, not even a good series.
No. Yeah.
You know, so it was like, which leads to
the last
nomination.
Last nomination, which I think both of us kind of, you know, we agree on this, and the person who brought Luka over. Just to be honest, I'm not sold on LeBron James either. I think he definitely qualifies for the overrated thing, just because people are still in awe and in like gasp about this.
Mike's gonna hate us for this.
About this, yeah, dude, he is, and I'm sorry, but like at the same time, I don't think he's really doing enough either, bro. Like, when I watch him, bro, he's giving like half-assed defensive effort. You know what I mean? Like, he's not trying anymore, and I get that because he's probably tired. But if you're tired, take your old ass home, bro. Like, I'm not sold on his little no-look jump shot. I don't think that he like is carrying. And then I think I even like told you the other day, I was like, he literally brings people to his team to like, oh, you're gonna be the scorer, but I'm gonna be like the guy. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just it's
like
not.
You do your like absolute best.
Yeah.
And I'll be over here.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so
I agree. I think for a few seasons, and don't get me wrong, like, I'm not questioning LeBron James' greatness or his dedication to basketball, but it just seems like, you know, of all the greatest players ever, and even players that played to his, which no one's played, I guess, at his level to their 40, but like, they don't not play the whole, like, they don't play when they want to. Like, he plays when he wants to, is what I see. Like, from a viewer standpoint, and from just me watching the Lakers, it just seems like, okay, like, if it's a good game, if it's a big game, he's gonna try hard. If they're getting blown out in that game, he's not gonna really try hard. You know what I mean?
He's done it.
If they're gonna be close, then he might, like, you know, he's gonna pick and choose.
And then they might throw him in at the end to kind of like feed him and rally.
Yeah, it's kind of like bring it home, LeBron. Yeah. So I agree with this nomination, and I will say, like, we might get a lot of flack online for it, but I think really it's like, when you look at all the star players in the league right now, there's really one that gets talked about the most, that like loses the most.
Yeah.
and it's LeBron, so it's a little bit for me. It's a little bit of the media coverage always of this guy, and it's always well now he's got Luka, so now they're gonna get a chip, and like the whole thing with his son at the beginning of the season, and it's just like I'm a little over the LeBron soap opera era of the NBA. Like, let's get some ballers and some hustlers and some people that like
to elevate the game.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And yeah, no offense to LeBron.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say too, man. It's nothing to his legacy. I'm a LeBron fan, bro. Ever since I watched fucking He Got Game, the fucking documentary and shit, like where
more than
a game. Like ever since I watched that shit, like bro, I like LeBron, but I like the ticker. You know what I mean?
The ticker. Nobody is out playing Father Time.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
So whether or not he decides to hang it up this summer, just next season, if you do play, let's ball out, man. Let's get going. You know what I mean? Yeah. But we're speaking of people that are past their prime, right?
Yeah.
But now we get the Up Next award.
Yes, sir. Up Next.
So whether we call it the I Got Next or Up Next award, we got what, two nominees?
2 nominees. Did we go with 2 or did we get 3?
Oh, we got 3.
We got 3. All
right. The Next Up award, as previously mentioned, this guy's having an insane playoff run. The stats don't necessarily back it. I mean, 18.8 points, 9.8 assists, 5.3 rebounds, which, doesn't sound too exciting on paper, but if you watch it, right, it's a lot exciting, especially when they're scoring points with 30 seconds left. But it's Tyrese Halliburton is our first nominee for the Next Up award, and you kind of initiated that one a little bit. You were buying a little bit for that. Did you want to talk about it?
Well, first, I was actually thinking Tyrese Maxey.
Oh shit.
Yeah. That was gonna be my John for who's next up. It's Tyrese Maxey. But Halle B, honestly, after watching him this playoff run, like I'm serious, like I'm considering like being a Halliburton fan, just because like the way that he's been playing and actually like kind of putting on for his team, like he's pretty, like, he's got something like special. Whether it be like, it's just like his momentum that he's carrying right now, I guess you could say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think when it's very, and maybe not to the T, but it definitely does kind of remind me of like a Dame Lillard, like he's just kind of really rocking it, and he's really like he's got the city behind him, and he's just got this like energy to him that when the time comes, like it's like, oh, you better watch out, like he might fuck you up, which I think in that sense, I think he's next up in that like in the way of like he's gonna be scary to let cook.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if he finds a way to like dominate a game and get to that like 25 plus or like 24 plus points a game, I think he'll be pretty good. But shout out to Tyrese Maxey though.
Yeah, no, I mean, dude, Tyrese Maxey, the reason I wanted to talk about him is cuz he had a kind of like slower year, so he only played like 65 games or something this year, but he still averaged like 26.6, and then like I think like 5 and 4. So he was still top 10 in the league and everything on everything for only playing 65. I thought that was like pretty impressive, and just when you watch him kind of lead and control the Sixers, bro, you could definitely tell that like he's their guy more than like Joel Joel Embiid would be their guy. You know what I mean? So I
mean anymore, right?
Yeah. So as I like look at him as like a player, I think like he could possibly be next up too.
Yeah, fuck it. We'll throw him in there. We'll have him in there.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Hey, let's go.
Live nomination. Let's rock it.
Yeah. Hey, that's my bad too. I should have been a little bit more clear.
Yeah, no. I'm trying to remember if I like. I don't know. We're good.
No, we're good.
The next guy, I'm just gonna throw out some stats. I think these are pretty crazy, pretty great stats for someone that doesn't get talked about a lot. Cade Cunningham.
Okay.
26.1 points per game, 9.1 assists per game, and 6.1 rebounds per game.
You said 9.1
assists per game.
Damn, bro.
Solid.
Yeah.
Solid.
Holy shit.
Someone say he's maybe not next up. He's already here, but I would say in regards to the recognition that he gets for putting up those kind of numbers.
Yeah.
I would say he probably deserves the nod, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh well, let's see. He can only do that for so long before.
That's so funny. The only people I've ever like heard like brag about Cade Cunningham is Ninja, the streamer Ninja. Him and his brother, they're from Detroit. So like they watch and they're like, "Yo, Cade is so sick." Yeah. And I've just watched like him in game, and I have thought like, "Hey, dude, he is pretty like he can go." You know what I mean? So yeah, I did not.
I forgot what
I was not aware of his game.
Yeah, no.
Straight up.
He won me a few bets this year. I'll be honest with you, just based off his assist alone. Just because he's one of those guys. Balls out, does it very sneakily, and really does kind of like he scores at will when he gets a chance to.
Yeah.
So I remember watching him in college. I forgot what college he went to, but I remember watching him in college and him busting like Michigan State's ass. And I was like, "Fuck, dude." So shout out Cade Cunningham, second nominee, third nominee actually, and then the last nominee, homeboy, right?
Hey,
homegrown talent, right? Let me just read some stats off. 7.3 points, 3.7 rebounds, 1.6 assists off 20.2 minutes per game in the 2023-24 season.
That was last year's number.
Right.
Last year's.
So, we have 15.4 points, 5.2 rebounds, and 2.6 assists off 33.9 minutes per game this season.
A whole fucking.
So doubles his points, almost doubles his rebounds, and one more assist. Not only that, he added 13% to his free throw percentage and 11% to his field goal percentage. Our last but not least, and probably our favorite, right?
Yeah.
To win the award is our very own CB Christian Brown.
You know who really banged that set? No, dude. Like the reason I emphasized, bro, those are last year's numbers is because like when you hear that jump of, doubling all of his stats, you know what I mean, and then adding 11 minutes to your playing time, bro, without even like getting tired. When I watch him, it doesn't look like he really does get tired. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like to add 11 minutes onto that, bro, dude should have won MIP. You know what I mean?
I agree. And it kind of, I would say like this award maybe mirrors like an MIP, but like more so speaking like just banking off of the progress that he made, and then even going into those big games in the later half of the season, I think that showed just how much better he could be if he just like, the thing about it is like it's a confidence thing. So maybe if he gets more confidence, but you could tell like as he's playing with Jokic, as he's playing in these big games, he's just only like like absorbing it all.
That's what I was just about to say. He's sponging it, bro. Literally, he's just all of it is all coming like to him. And I think that like now we will start to see maybe this next year is like him get like a play actually like drawn up for him in those situations, because
more lobs to CB or
something like just last second, because he's got like a nice 3-point shot. I don't know if you had the statistics on that, but like I felt like towards the end of the year, that's what he was doing. He wasn't even like slashing as much as he did at the beginning of the year. So for him to adapt his game, kind of make himself more available to get his name called. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you could tell too, like Jokic was like fucking with him a little bit more and more and more as the time went by. For at one point it was just him and Jokic.
Yeah, I would agree. So great category, honestly, because like when I think about all of those nominations, I do think of like, damn, bro, like the future of the NBA is that's
a hard fucking award to give.
Yeah,
like. Honestly, I want to give it to CB, but like you got Cade in there, and you got Tyrese, both Tyrese's. You got Halliburton, who's in the finals this year. Who would have thought? You know
who else I was gonna throw out there too is Stephon Castle from the Spurs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I like that.
The future of the NBA is about to get like good.
If I can throw out an HM, what about Desi Advija? Or I don't know how to say it, from Portland, baby.
Yeah, dude, he's pretty good, honestly. When we watch him, he works, bro. He's nice. Yeah, and I mean, we didn't even know him that before that one game, and he just started like popping off,
fucking going crazy.
And then they showed his stats, and it's like 19 points per game, and we're like, damn. So he does this. Like that's those are his numbers. That's his shit.
I think he was like pulling a triple double, and I was like, dude, I need this guy.
Yeah.
So I like you're saying that the future of the and that's why I think like I'm so adamant and not hateful about like old LeBron being in the NBA, but like old LeBron being in the NBA and getting all this like media attention and getting all this like hype for championships he's not gonna win. It's like give some of these motherfuckers that ball out for their teams in Detroit some love. You know what I mean? Like Cade Cunningham is doing great things, and Detroit Pistons as an organization are doing great things.
So much more improved than they were.
Exactly. So it's just like, the future is bright, and that's kind of why like I wanted to do the award too. It's just like just to give those kind of names some recognition. You know what I mean? Because there are some like stone cold killers that just like fly under the radar until it's like, oh, everyone loves that guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Like kind of like a Halliburton.
Like a Halliburton or like an Anthony Edwards. Yeah. Or you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So overall, what do you think about all the nominees and the nominations?
Bro, after we just read all of them, first of all, I think we're dope. I think that we picked like kind of like great nominees for each category, and each category is kind of essential to what we talk about when we talk sports. You know what I mean? We talk about like who is doing the best, and it just fits the us versus us like pretty perfectly, I would say. And I'm excited to handle the other side of it too, and like cut some edits and fucking like get these videos out ASAP so that we can get more people's opinions on it, and so that we can
see who we missed.
Yeah, and see like and just get people here. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like one thing we talked about when we were talking about like up in the show is I was like saying like maybe possibly like live streaming this. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so like I'm having ideas in my head on like how we want to like set this up and how it, like, you know, what it looks like, and you know how we're gonna dress, and you know what I mean, like just kind of doing the whole thing. So yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm really really excited for it, and I think it's a great idea. Probably thank you. Yeah, for busting down on that. And it's perfect timing. You know what I mean. The finals starts on Wednesday, so you know by next Monday we'll be 3 games in or something. So
yeah, something like that.
It'll be perfect for like, you know, what's going on
to close out the season. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, do you have any opinions on that, like the NBA season? And
no, I mean,
good season, bad season.
I love basketball, man. I'm not gonna find anything to bitch about. I'm gonna kind of like walk away from it saying that, like, although it didn't work out like how I wanted, you know what I mean? Because I'm always just rooting for my team, pretty much. That's one thing that I noticed is like I got to be more present, like around the league, right? Just not just when they're playing, not when the Nuggets are playing them. I got to like think about things when they're playing, you know, when the Lakers are playing Minnesota and shit. You know what I mean? Right. So it's like, but I'm not gonna find anything to bitch. I think it was a good season. I would probably give it like a B though. You know what I mean?
B season.
Yeah, not too crazy, not an A. Yeah. And this finals is definitely, not what I would call, like selling a fuckload of like tickets or you know. Yeah.
I would agree. I would say like C plus, just because. Although like I'm starting to get like, I don't want to say hype about certain players and teams around the league. I was a little bit like invested into the Nuggets this season, and even for them that season was so what a season, you know. So I would say like C plus. Let's see what next year brings. I'm excited for next year. Shams said it's gonna be a crazy off season.
Oh yeah.
So craziest off season. Shams. We'll see what he brings. Yeah. So to wrap it up, I mean, last question I had was, do we or do we not do a team award? Nah. I don't know. Maybe.
Like a teamwork award, or like is that what you mean, or like a sportsmanship award kind of, or like do you mean like best, just like a best team,
either a best team or like a most exciting team, or fuck this team award.
Fuck this team award.
No, fuck that team.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But I don't know. We'll think about it.
Because if we're gonna do it, we got to do it now. So if we do a fuck that team award, we're they're good, right? Like fuck them because they're good.
Yeah.
All right, we got to do 3 nominations.
Yes. Well, obviously, the Thunder.
Yeah. Thunder are one for sure, cause like fuck them. Trying to think another one. I mean, I feel like I have like a fucking like fuck them to the T-Wolves too.
Yeah, we can put the Thunder and T-Wolves, and then the other team would probably be, I don't know.
Go East Coast probably.
I would say the Knicks probably.
Yeah. Because I don't fuck with Cat.
Yeah, that and like
the fans on the side and everything.
Yeah, and they fucking it's the Knicks, because fuck that team. You know what? It's your fans. You guys get a fuck that team because you're fucking bandwagon fans, and your fans that beat up the Pacers guy. So
fuck that team.
Fuck that team.
All right, we'll take it. Yeah. The first two are a little bit more like personal, but the last one actually like makes me be like, fuck, man. Fuck y'all,
That's
bro.
why you guys lost.
Karma is a bitch. But yeah. All right, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to wrap it up for the day. But before we do that, the Us versus Us awards. Make sure you guys tune in next week so that you guys can catch the Us versus Us awards, where me and my brother probably gonna host and give out some awards for the end of the NBA season.
Yes, sir. Get ready, NBA edition.
Probably go ahead and hit them with your social media plug.
As always, my friends and fellow Us versus Us compadres or whatever the fuck. My name is Probably, all one word, on Instagram. At My Name Is Probably Official on YouTube, where you will find music videos and music that is made by me, music videos shot by D. My Name Is Probably 97 on TikTok and Twitch. Make sure you guys follow me on that as well. I appreciate it. I appreciate your time. I appreciate being on this shit. It's gonna be such a journey, but I love it.
Yeah.
Every step of the way.
Hey, bro. We're barely even getting started. It's the tip of the iceberg of what we got going on.
Very first Us versus Us awards.
Yeah, very first. Why? They're just gonna get bigger, dude, and sicker. If you guys didn't know me, I go by #Dion. You can follow me on all social media platforms at #_Dion. Spell out the hashtag. That does include Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, go check out our YouTube page, the Us versus Us podcast. That's where we exclusively drop our episodes for right now. So we got a video and the audio for you. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you lock in. Hit the subscribe button. Drop a comment. And yeah, don't miss out on any of the upcoming episodes, bro. We're here. We're not going anywhere. And then next week specifically, make sure you guys tune in, because this is gonna be awesome. I think that this is gonna be epic, and I'm really excited for it. So I'm excited for next week. Make sure you guys tune in, so we can get this thing popping.
Oh yeah,
probably.
Man. Good shit.
Yep. I appreciate you, my guy, as always.
Killing it.
I appreciate anybody who comes by, whether it's for 5 seconds, 5 minutes, or the whole entire podcast. Y'all, thank y'all. One love. Peace.
Holler.
I need me a check. I need it. Saying with love, now that I'm found, I really need my respect. I really need it. Nobody but me in my head. Nobody. I'ma do me till I'm dead. Do me. If I gotta fight for my soul, then fuck it, I might as well go for the neck.